We are all cognizant of the inhumane torture perpetrated by Israeli occupiers on innocent Palestinians. You might have come across numerous news reports on this subject. Today, I will share the narrative of a movie that surpasses imagination. It is not a mere story or news, but a genuine incident involving a young girl in Palestine. This girl still harbors distressing memories of that occurrence. Prepare yourself for a chilling true story. I can only express that after viewing this film, I remained awake throughout the entire night. Now, let's delve into the main story of the movie. This village is a small settlement in Palestine in 1948, amidst the aftermath of World War II. Some village girls were playing next to a fountain in the village. One of these girls is Farha, and today we'll uncover her life story. Farha's father serves as the village chief. Since childhood, Farha harbored the wish to study and grow up. She attends the only girls' school in the village, where an elderly cleric is their teacher. Today marks Farha's last day of school. After their studies, everyone shared their wishes with the cleric. Farha expressed her desire to study more and go to the city. However, the cleric disapproved, as he is against higher education for girls. Farha leaves her school and encounters her uncle, who recently arrived from town due to the war. Farida, Farha's cousin of similar age, has also moved to the village. Farida and Farha sit and talk, and Farha is surprised that Farida will stay in the village. Farha shares her desire to study in the city. The story of the two sisters continues until they hear a car. Israeli army vehicles are heading toward their village. Small children, fueled by hatred for Israel, start shooting toy guns at the vehicles. Farha imitates them, illustrating the deep-seated animosity. Upon returning home, Farha finds one of her uncles visiting. As Farha's mother died when she was young, her uncle came to see her after a few days. Now that Farha is a bit older, her uncle suggests marrying her off due to the war and Israeli soldiers around the village. Farha's father and uncle discuss these issues, and Farha overhears from a distance. Uncle bids farewell and leaves. Farha then returns home, starts reading with a book, and reveals her keen interest in studies. Suddenly, she hears about her father and the school Malvi. The Malvi suggests marrying Farha now that her schooling is over. Dreaming of a brighter future, Farha leaves her room in anger, declaring her intention to study more and go to the city for higher education. This sparks a bit of anger from her father. In the next scene, a boy named Nasser comes to Farha's house to deliver food. Nasser is Farha's cousin, and their marriage has been arranged since childhood. However, Farha cannot stand Nasser. The scene then changes. In Farha's village, a girl of her age was getting married. Farha and her sister, Farida, joined the festivities and had a lot of fun. Suddenly, Farha's expression changed as she realized that in a few days, she too would be married, potentially marking the end of her dreams. After the wedding, two sisters were returning home when Farha overheard her father and uncle discussing her marriage in front of the house. Unhappy with this prospect, Farha expressed her reluctance to her father, stating that she did not want to marry at the moment. Her father insisted, citing that everyone in the village of her age was getting married. Farha's dreams seemed shattered until her father surprised her with an admission form to a city school. Overjoyed, Farha declared her father the best in the world, and her dreams were reignited. However, their joy was interrupted by the arrival of Palestinian soldiers seeking her father's assistance, as he secretly aided them being a village leader. Farha eavesdropped on their conversation. That night, Farha fell asleep, only to wake up to an unsettling quietness. Searching for her father, she found him behind a newly built wall with a door. Suspicious, Farha realized something was hidden behind the wall. While sitting on a swing with her sister in the afternoon, Farha shared the news of her enrollment in a city school. Although Farida was happy, Farha's joy was tainted by the thought of leaving her father. She promised to return to the village after completing her studies and open a school. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise, and Israeli soldiers attacked their village. Chaos ensued as people tried to flee. Farha's uncle tried to take both sisters to safety, but Farha resisted, unwilling to leave her father. Eventually, Farha's father joined them, and they left with Farida. Farha's father, realizing they were surrounded, prepared for battle and took Farha into a secret room behind the wall. He assured her he would return, locked the door, and left to aid the Palestinian soldiers. Alone in the dark, Farha heard gunfire and waited anxiously. The shelling outside stopped, and when Farha heard footsteps, she hoped it was her father. Disappointed, she sat on the floor until evening. Finding a hurricane lamp, she lit it and noticed a small hole in the wall. Peering through, she saw the broken main gate with no one around. In complete silence, a frustrated Farha lay down on the floor. She was very hungry, and some food was already stored in that room, which Farha started eating. Suddenly, Farha heard noises outside again, so she started calling for her father. After a while, there was heavy shelling, and the sound of people's cries echoed from all around. Smoke filled the surroundings, and it entered the room. Farha put sacks under the door to trap the fumes, then lay down on the floor again. The next morning, Farha looked outside with her dirty face. Confined in the room most of the time, she played alone in that room. As day turned into night and rain started outside, some rainwater entered the room. Thus, another night passed in Farha's life. The next morning, Farha faced a significant challenge as she needed to use the bathroom. Forced to finish the bathroom work in a corner of the room, Farha's resources, including food, were running out. Her hunger slowly increasing, Farha started eating the raw potatoes there. That night, Farha turned on the hurricane, took out her book, and started reading it. Inside that book was Farha's city school admission form, which she examined closely. Meanwhile, the hurricane's oil was slowly running out. Farha then lit a fire by combining some straws in the house with a firecracker. She found a knife and tried to open the door with it, but all her efforts failed. Farha lay down again, filled with despair. When the next morning dawned, Farha woke up to the sound of people talking. She immediately went to the hole and saw some people outside. One of them was a woman, and by looking at her, it was clear that she was pregnant and in severe labor pains. Her husband was sitting there trying to deliver, and in no time, a son came into their lap. The man was very happy because he had 2 daughters earlier. The man's name was Abu Muhammad, and he called the azan into his newborn son's ear. As Farha heard Abu Muhammad's name, she kept calling him. The man did not understand where the noise was coming from, but he soon found the place. Farha then told the man everything and asked him for help. The man tried hard to break the lock on the door, but an Israeli army car stopped at Farha's house. The man left the house, hiding his wife and children, but he fell before the Israeli soldiers. Then the Israelis took the man and entered the house. The man kept insisting that this house was not his. He came just to drink water. There was also a masked man. The Israelis argued that the man was not from this area, and this house did not belong to him. However, the Israeli commander became suspicious upon seeing some drops of blood. This blood was shed during the delivery of the man's wife. The commander ordered to search the entire house and started coming towards Farha's room. With the knife in Farha's hand, she prepared to fight. Just then, demonic screams of the Israeli soldiers were heard outside. They found Abu Muhammad's wife, and a female soldier started searching her. The female soldier understood that the woman had given birth some time ago. Then the commander came and misbehaved with the woman, which is actually unlistenable. The woman could not bear it and spat in the commander's face. Meanwhile, the soldiers also found Abu Muhammad's 2 daughters. This time, Abu Muhammad fell at the feet of that commander, begging for the lives of his family members. The masked man requested the commander that there is nothing wrong with them. Why are you doing this to these innocent people? But the commander did not listen to anyone. He lined up the family and told the soldiers to kill them. The sound of gunshots shook all around. Innocent people and innocent children were killed. All around became silent. The masked man approached Farha's door. This man was essentially Farha's father. He just came to the door and called Farha, then left from there. Before leaving, the commander ordered one of his soldiers to shoot the newborn baby too. But the commander said immediately, "There is no need to waste a bullet behind these Palestinians. You trampled the child to death." The soldier tried but couldn't step on the child. No matter how Jewish he is also a man. The child will die if left here. So he put his handkerchief over the baby's face so that the baby slowly stopped breathing and died. I am not telling you a story. It really happened. And indeed, the baby came into the world for only a few hours. The echoes of the child's screams reverberated. At this point, you tell me what was wrong with this child. Farha, who was inside the room, was going crazy because of the child's incessant screams. She wanted to get out of the room at any cost, to go to the child. She tried a lot, but all efforts failed. At one point, the child's crying gradually stopped. Farha listened to the baby while lying near the door, naming the baby Little Muhammad. Upon waking the next morning, Farha is startled to discover a pistol lying beside her. She loads bullets into the pistol, instilling a lot of courage in her mind. Either way, she has to get out of this room. Farha closes her eyes and starts shooting at the door. Sunlight falls on her face. The closed door in front of her opens. Farha walks out of there very slowly. It's quiet all around. She drinks water from a nearby water pot and then looks at the kid. Then, the worst scene of the movie happens, silencing her. The child is dead, with flies buzzing over the corpse and ants already starting to consume it. In the world in which I am living now, the same world where a child's farewell was like that. When Farha gets out, there is no one left in the entire village. Where people were happy 2 days ago, now there is only the smell of dead bodies. Farha sits down in that familiar swing of hers, looking on quietly. She takes out the admission form from her pocket, but it suddenly flies out of her hand into the air. Farha stands up and starts walking slowly. The empty cradle and the village lie that way. Farha is walking with an unknown purpose. In real life, this girl's name was Radia, who walked from her village to a Syrian refugee camp and shared her story there. As long as Radia lived, she searched for her father a lot, but her father was never found. Thousands of such stories are still being written in the streets of Palestine. Let me just tell you this. Just close your eyes once and pray for these people from your heart. We have nothing else to do. I will not ask you how the movie was today, because today we didn't just listen to any movie story, but you must comment your opinion.